when you look after the culture, the vibe is great, right? How do you drive culture? Leadership. It's not even about having a job that you like. It's like, is it purposeful? And purpose is far more valuable than it's ever been to people when they choose their place of employment.
Hey, Larissa here from Salon Owners Collective, and in this episode you're in for a powerful reality check with our very own coach, Joel. He's our go-to expert behind our boardroom program for our $1 million salon owners. Now, if you've ever felt like your team is just maybe a little bit off lately, like the vibe isn't quite hitting right, but if you can't put your finger on the why, today Joel dives into the invisible energy of a salon culture and why so many teams are struggling right now on how to truly connect. Whether you've got new team members, lingering post-COVID disconnect, or you're just plain exhausted, this episode is going to show you how to lead your team without burning out in the process. But be warned, Joel doesn't hold back, and he's here to hold up a mirror and help you reclaim your power as a true salon CEO. Shall we dive in?
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Salon Owners Collective podcast. My name is Joel Bouzaid. I'm one of the coaches at Salon Owners Collective, and in particular, I look after the boardroom, those salon owners that are doing over $1 million a year. Today, I'd love to have a conversation with you about something really close to my heart, but also takes up a lot of space in my head, and that is the invisible energy that is your team culture. And I think here we are in 2025 after several relatively rocky years since COVID. It can naturally feel like your once upon a time dream team is right now a little bit fractured. You would have naturally had some people leave your team. You would have had some people come. And there's obviously been the rise of this meh culture that a lot of people bring not only to the salon, but also to life. And I guess the question in the back of my mind is, how do you rebuild the connection that you once had in your team when you yourself as the salon owner or even the manager are actually feeling really tired, maybe a little bit frustrated, maybe a lot frustrated, and maybe you're just actually unsure on where to start. So if culture is something that feels like it's a little bit off right now, then this is going to be absolutely 100% useful. And let's do it without burning yourself out, because I know that your to-do list or your calendar is probably already pretty full. And so the first thing I'd like to start with is, why is it right now that your team feels a little off? Like, what is that? And until we actually stop and we answer the question, it can just, the feeling, the off, fractured, disconnected feeling can just circulate in our heads and create those emotions like frustration, for example. And we need to actually deal with it. And so permission right now to stop the car, stop the podcast, stop whatever it is you're doing, and just go, why is it that my team feels off right now? Like, is it, so here's like a bigger picture thing. So after COVID, there was a real shift in workplace culture, and a lot of people started working from home. Of course, if you work in a salon, that wasn't the case. And, you know, most of humanity, working class humanity, experienced a lot of disconnection and ended up in personal and professional survival mode. And I know it seems really like that was a long time ago, but for a lot of people, getting reconnected again is something that the owner, that's you, or the manager, that's you, hasn't actually facilitated yet. It's like, well, things didn't really change that much for us. We still served our clients, and onward we go. The chairs keep getting filled up. The rooms keep getting filled up. And so it's business as usual. But actually reconnecting your team together is actually something that we need to do. And if we haven't done it, you might just be experiencing what I'd call almost like the hangover of COVID. That could be one of the reasons why your team feels a little bit off at the moment. I was actually just a couple of weeks ago in at a salon, and they just had their owner sell. And so I was facilitating a session with them because they felt like their culture or who they were, their identity, not in these exact words, kind of left with the owner because that person was the founder and the creator and the leader, and they left. And now who are we is kind of like the experience. So maybe you're that person now, like the new owner of a team, or maybe you're just really experiencing a generation of workers now that are far more interested in why we do the work that we do. Like for us at a business level, we start to think about, well, people need their hair and their skin and their confidence and their beauty and their appearance looked after. And there's a really simple and plain business transaction that exists there. But if I work for you in this day and age, I'm going to have a conversation with my friends on the weekend, and when they ask me about what I do and who I work for, it's no longer just about having a job. It's not even about having a job that you like. It's like, is it purposeful? And purpose is far more valuable than it's ever been to people when they choose their place of employment. They want to know why. They want to know if I sweep up this hair again, if I redo this color job, if I go out of my way to greet someone at the door and go above and beyond when it comes to customer experience. Like, I get that that's connected to like what the owner or manager told me I'm supposed to do, but what's the purpose behind it? And when you can start sharing your vision or your values with your team as a reason why we do what we do, that is without a doubt going to be a massive driver for not only engagement, but also course correcting some of that fractured disconnection that you might be experiencing. So sometimes the team feels a little bit off because your values are on a bit of paper and you did it 7 years ago. You don't really know what a vision is. And so you very rarely, if ever, speak to that vision. And when you do come in and deliver your team meeting or your 5 cents or whatever it may be, it's not an alignment with any kind of vision. It's just instructional and operational and day-to-day and corrective and in tell mode. And so these are some of the reasons why it might feel like your team is a little bit off. Notice what I did there. I held the mirror up to you instead of giving you the nice and easy pill to swallow, which is it's all their fault, right? It's the team members. It feels off because of them. No, often it can feel off because of the way that we're leading as well. And the last thing I'll throw in here, and I'm sure you're thinking right now to yourself, like, I actually now know, Joel, just listening to you in the background, why it is that my team feels a little bit off right now, is because sometimes we think that culture is about, if everyone brings a good vibe, then the culture is going to be good. Like, it's about vibe, right? What's culture? It's like vibe. And a lot of people talk about vibe, and it's a real easy way to take yourself off the hook from actually doing the stuff that really works when it comes to culture. And so I would say forget vibe. Like, it's important, but it's actually when you look after the culture, the vibe is great, right? How do you drive culture? Leadership. Great leadership. And that starts with you, the Salon CEO or owner. That starts with your manager or your management team. And when you're leading well, the culture will pick up and it'll drive the vibe. Don't lean on vibe on its own and figure out, how do we lift the vibe? Oh, we need more lollies. How do we lift the vibe? Let's do a dress up day. How do we lift the vibe? Let's play more games. Like, nothing wrong with any of that stuff. but it is like putting a Band-Aid over the cut that keeps happening again and again and again and again. It's like, let's deal with the cause of that. It's like, the kid's too young to have the scissors, man. Get them out of their hands, and then you won't have to deal with the Band-Aid approaches anymore. Okay, so when it comes to culture, there's a whole bunch of reasons why it could feel off. My encouragement to you today is write down, what are some of the reasons that our culture could be off right now? Why does the team feel off? I bet you already know what it is. Okay, number 2 is that sometimes we have to take stock and recognize that our contribution, and we contribute. I mean, I work with a lot of the boardroomers, and so more than any other salon that I work with, they spend the least amount of time in their business. And I hold them to account on this stuff more than any other owner, that their subtle, sometimes seemingly insignificant, small doses of contribution, be it physical, verbal, auditory, the presence that they bring, the osmosis that they bring just by being in the business, is absolutely critical. And sometimes as owners, because we're full, we think that, I can't see it. I can't see the culture. I don't know how to put my finger on it. I don't know how to move the lever to push it up or down. And so therefore, if I don't know what to do, I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that it will fix itself. Because actually, there's been times in my life and business where I haven't had to do anything, and all I just did was sit around and wait for it to happen. And sometimes it happens, and it's okay. It's good. And it's a very poor strategy. There's no certainty in that. There's a lot of anxiety in that. But also, on the other side of it, sometimes, like 1 in 25 times working out, there's no ownership. You don't even get to celebrate. You don't even get to go, I contributed to making that happen. So hoping doesn't work when it comes to dealing with a team that feels off, that's a bit disconnected. That won't work. When you see in the back room or team dynamics that suggests negativity, bitching, backstabbing, gossiping, talking about someone else, not behind their back because they're just over there, but maybe about them, but you don't really know. It's just, we call it confused communication, right? Your communication as a team dynamic has to be clean. And the only alternative to clean is it's confusing. And I do this in salons. We talk about this in our Salon Mastery and our boardroom programs, is that most human beings are average at best communicators. Like, we're average. Like, we think we're good, but we're actually very average. And a lot of people's defense when they are going below the line and talking about another stylist or a therapist or some of that kind of crappy culture that none of us want to admit we've got. And hopefully you don't, but if you do, it's an opportunity, right? Sometimes when we're experiencing those kind of symptoms, it's important for us to nip it in the bud as soon as possible. And if you don't, what will happen is that the culture will take a massive dive. Because just imagine this for a moment. I'm a stylist. I'm working in your salon. And over there, 5 meters away, I see 2 other stylists. And it looks like to me that they're talking about me. It looks like to me that they're talking about me. And I've had a bad day. And I already don't really trust people 1,000%. Like, I've had some experiences in my life, yeah. And I'm looking at those 2 stylists, and they're I don't not like them. I don't love them. They're work colleagues, but it feels like they're talking about me. And then for whatever reason, at the end of their conversation, they laugh. Now, if they're talking about me and now they're laughing at me, and all of a sudden I've just created this big story in my head that they are talking about me and laughing at me.
I just wanted to quickly interrupt you and say, hey, a quick thank you. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you're loving this episode. But let me ask you, have you ever felt like you reached the top of the mountain only to realize there's another even bigger peak ahead? So if you have hit the $1 million revenue mark already, but suddenly the strategies that got you here aren't really working anymore, growth is slowed, you're making bigger decisions, managing a larger team, and the weight of it all, well, it's a lot. It's exactly why I created the Salon Mastery Boardroom, and it's an exclusive place designed especially for salon CEOs like you, where you've gained a high level of achievement already. In the boardroom, we discuss high-level strategies, leadership insights, business model shifts, and things that we need to reach the next big milestone. Sometimes you just need a new milestone. Inside of Boardroom, you'll also be surrounded by powerhouse women and men, a powerhouse of community and other $1 million plus salon owners sharing insights, challenges, breakthroughs, because scaling to multi-million dollars, well, you shouldn't have to do it alone. So if you're ready to take your salon and your leadership to the next level, let's talk. I'd love to invite you to a complimentary $1 million strategy call. We'll map out your next steps, explore how Boardroom can support your journey. All you need to do is click now. I've put it in the show notes of this episode. Let's talk about your business and see if we're the right people to help you with your next step. All right, well, that's enough for me. And let's get back to the episode.
When these kinds of things happen, as a salon CEO, as a manager, as someone that's charged with the great responsibility of looking after culture, it's very, very important that the expectations you set in your team around communication are we're either really clean in our communication or we're being confusing. And if we're being confusing, we're going to get tied up in lots of unnecessary energy sapping conversations, just better trying to understand people's intent and their communication. So when I go into salons and I work with the team, we talk about what does really clean communication look like, so that when we communicate, there's no doubt in anyone else's mind as to what it is that is happening, occurring, being communicated. Whereas confusing communication is more of that autopilot. I'm just going to do me. And if you're going to take that the wrong way, then that's on you. And that's not how high performance teams work. They don't just do them. They actually put the team first, understand what the team needs, and then put all of their personal effort and values through that team culture, through those team values. And on the other side of that, they actually realize that the best version of themselves is often when they're in or a part of that high performing team. So really important there that we tidy up communication. But I think where that really started was making sure that any kind of communication, miscommunication, or energy leaks, or through gossiping or talking about other people, like as management, you got to be all over that like white on rice. Like deal with that as soon as possible. Like 24 hours would be too late. And go in with curiosity and be the investigator and don't assume anything. Gather the evidence, what happened here, what's going on, and be that conflict resolution person. But don't ever let someone's behavior miscommunicate to somebody else. You do nothing, and then 7 years passes and you go, far out, the team's not really feeling like we're together, like doesn't feel like we're got each other's back. It's because you never had people's back when it started to show up as a problem. So I know it's pretty confronting. I know it's pretty like in your face, but like this is why you need to get out from being behind the chair. This is why you need to get out from being in the rooms. You need to step into that role of being a leader of your business, of empowering other people in your business, and of becoming a true salon CEO. And when you do that, don't worry, we can share with you the greatness that is being the salon CEO and the great things that you get to actually deal with now, because no one else is going to deal with them, right? Other people can cut hair and consult skin. If you're doing that, then someone's not taking care of the important things like the invisible force that is your culture. And then the other mistake that we see owners make is, of course, they try to motivate through their um, through their KPI system. And I just want to be really, really clear. We run a very clear and transparent, highly engaging and very effective do I get a pay rise system within Salon Mastery. Is really, really useful. And it's only one aspect of what motivates people. And sometimes as owners, we're like, well, I don't know how to motivate my people. So I'm just going to dangle the carrot of money, right? Like, do this and I'll pay you that. And it's good, but it's not great. It's sometimes great, but it's not excellent. Or maybe it's excellent in your salon, but it's not world class. And I think if you want to go to that next level, like we run one-on-ones that complement your do I get a pay rise or your KPI based conversations. We run in collaboration a meeting we call the 7-minute one-on-one. And once you've set it up, which probably takes 45 minutes to an hour, it requires zero preparation from the owner. You don't even speak. You don't even ask questions. The team member runs the meeting. So instead of trying to motivate people by dangling things, it's like stop all of that. Just make the horse thirsty. And they'll go and find the water. And that's a really important aspect when it comes to thinking about what is it that I maybe am doing incorrectly or old school or not well that I could be tripping myself up. So some things to think about there. So we've talked a little bit about why your team might feel off and encouragement to identify what that is, like write it down. And we've also talked about some of the common mistakes that seller owners make when we're thinking about dealing with this. We ignore stuff, we hope things get better, or we try to motivate instead of approaching this with a 2025 lens, really understanding how people work now and what it is that they want. So 7-minute one-on-one, I'll definitely write that down as something to sink your teeth into in the future. So let's talk briefly about rebuilding your culture. Now, there's no, I can't, like, I spent a number of years working with, first of all, organizations rebuilding their culture, and then small teams and lots of salons, and now exclusively in the hair and beauty industry. But that's a very unique process that, depending on the other problems, personnel, team dynamics, will have a different kind of, like, I guess, prescription, if you like. But one thing that I can totally encourage right now to you that I think is really worth getting your head around is reconnecting with your vision. Like, why do you do what you do? Like what is the deeper answer to that? And whatever you come up with, write down why to that. And then whatever you come up with, write down why again, to the point where you're almost emotional, because you created your business, you started your business, you bought your business so that you could be something for someone else, for other people. And whatever that is, that means a heck of a lot to you. And you start to get reconnected with that yourself, it starts to show up in the tone and texture and volume and like it shows up in your voice, it shows up in your presence, it shows up in your personality when you decide to go into the salon and lead this particular team meeting. Yeah. And so reconnecting with your vision is without a doubt going to be really useful for you. Where we got to a couple of weeks ago when I went into that salon is we actually did probably one of the most effective fast track trainings that we've got, which is setting team expectations. A very elegant, simple process, really effective. Everyone leaves, managers, owners, team members, like really bought in. Like, you want to get really, really clear about what the team expectations are. And often what happens is like, hey, welcome to our team. Here's a job description and the contract. Read through that. It's all good. Yet sign it. Okay, we're into onboarding and induction and training, and we get you up to the certain point. And it's like, great, that's what I was supposed to do, right? And we forgot. We forgot about the culture. We forgot about this is how we do it here. We forgot about the team expectations. And the team expectations create a culture that actually drives performance. Yeah. It's not the other way around. You bring performance and then there'll be a vibe. It's not that at all. And so you've got to have really clear team expectations that are driven by the team, that are led by the team. That's a really, really important piece. And then I think another really tangible one for owners is you've got to steal the moments for connection. This is really, really important in this day and age. Like everything feels hyper speed. Like the rate in which you can consume now, for example, inside of Salon Owners Collective, we have a team member now called Jemima. You might have heard Larissa talk about her. And in terms of accessing our strategies that help owners go from operator to manager to leader to Salon CEO and turn over a quarter, half, three quarters, $1 million plus. Like those systems and strategies were built out over years, right? And now with Jemima, you can access the scripts, the solutions, the steps, the phrases in an instant. And it's epic. It's unbelievable. It's awesome. But it also contributes to this now world that feels really, really fast. And I think one of the best things we can do for our own mental health and well-being, but also the mental health and well-being of our staff members, our team members, and then also foster this thing called positive workplace culture is, when there's a moment to be funny, like lean into that, when there's a moment to encourage someone and genuinely do that in your team, elevate them, edify them, light them up, put them on a freaking pedestal in front of the rest of the team. Like, let's clap that person. Let's, if you're running online huddles, let's write some things into the chat. Like, I think connection is really undervalued on the surface of how we do work, but actually it's the very thing that's sucking the life out of our business, is we don't have enough of it. So I want to really encourage you this week, even today, if you're listening to this before work, to find those opportunities for connection and to lean in, be courageous, be vulnerable. And, for a lot of us, we went through COVID. And so we're not like super, like, we're not super transparent and upfront and forthcoming. That's the word I was looking for. Forthcoming with our vulnerability around connection, our encouragement. Like, it's easy to step back and to shy away and to be a few layers back from true human connection. But if you really want to take charge of your team and the culture that already is, I'd say just like triple down on the moments that already present themselves to really celebrate and encourage your people. Even if you've had a bad week, like, start your team meeting off with some epic wins. I really think that's important. And then the last thing that I'd say is that many of us grew up, in a time where perfectionism was the barrier to entry to society. So look good, smell good, do right, not wrong, show up, fully organized, lots of order. Like, a lot of us were brought up like that. And, we end up in an industry where perfectionism is absolutely necessary in terms of the service we provide, right? Like, people, you consult them and they say they want this, and then you deliver. It's like, it's going to be perfect. But I think it's time to let go of that. It's time to let go of not doing outstanding, accurate, almost close to perfect work in terms of the service we provide. I think that's always going to be a part of what elevates hair and beauty way beyond any other retail competition. Like, we're just in a league of our own, and that's brilliant. Like, it's so good. But I think we need to let go of the overall concept that perfectionism or being perfect or getting it absolute 100% of the time right is the way forward when it comes to team. In fact, I would say that the more that you can verbalize and accentuate and reinforce the progress that you're seeing or the progress that's been demonstrated, the faster and closer your people head towards perfect anyway. And so instead of saying that's the goal and until you get there, it ain't any good. Not that you'd say that, but it's how you come across, just like many of our parents and grandparents did. It's really, really important to come from that place of, I see what you did there. That was epic. That was awesome. And just reinforce the effort. I mean, this is the backbone of growth mindset, which is a whole nother podcast. But if you want to develop good mindset in your people, you need to celebrate progress, not perfection. Okay, team, I hope that's been useful. If nothing else, during this podcast, you've been able to think to yourself, why is it that my team feels a little bit off? And maybe you've been able to identify that. I also went out of my way to challenge you just a little bit because I think that's healthy to go, what is it you're perhaps doing that's hindering your ability to take charge, elevate, nurture your culture into something great again? And finally, we've talked about 3 or 4 ways in which you can start to rebuild your culture. Hopefully it's been useful. If nothing else, take one thing, put it into action, and you'll experience something that I love that we talk about a whole lot inside of Salon Mastery, which is generating momentum. So do one thing today and generate momentum for yourself.
And that's a wrap. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit a nerve, or if your team has been feeling a little bit maybe disconnected lately, well, this may have just been your sign. You don't have to fix your culture on your own. I welcome you to book a free strategy call with me or one of my team. And let's get super clear on a simple plan to get you out of the weeds, back into control. We'll uncover what's holding you back from growing to your $1 million salon. And let's see if Salon Mastery is the right place for you to take the next step in your growth journey. Maybe we'll rebuild your dream together. All right, all you need to do is comment CEO. I'll know exactly what you mean, and I'll send you the link. Look forward to seeing you. All right, same time, same place on the podcast. Ciao for now.